Hello everyone, I hope everyone's doing well. Just coming on for a spontaneous live. I haven't done a live for a couple of weeks unintentionally because I will be doing my live streams and workshops again. But I've just had a moment where I've got some time where I can come in and say hi. I'm on YouTube and Instagram, got both cameras set up. So it's not a workshop as such, it's just a Q&A session. I've got about half an hour, so if anyone has any questions that you'd like to ask about manifesting, anything about your spiritual path, how to let go of anxiety, reprogram your subconscious mind, anything from my videos or content that you've seen, just ask some questions. Hello to everyone who's just joining, and hello to everyone on YouTube as well. Some questions or comments. Hello to everyone from India. I see a comment saying India landed on the moon. I'm not familiar with what's gone on there, but that's amazing if so. I'm not too familiar with that news. I've got a question here from Phenomenal Fanny. How to clear unknown blockages to manifest. So we need to clear blockages because the reason why we don't manifest, well, we're always manifesting, but the reason why we can sometimes seem to have trouble manifesting is because we've got some blockages that's preventing it, or we have some belief in lack. So first of all, we need to look at the areas in your life that doesn't seem to be working. So look at the areas where there seems to be problems and the areas which you want to change, and look at the areas that you're finding it difficult to change in. That's how you know where to start. Fundamentally, what the blockages will be is rooted in a belief in lack. Where any issues that we have, they can be caused by many different things. We have different experiences, different programs and habits and programmings in our mind. But fundamentally, what doesn't work is beliefs in lack. So if we keep thinking we're lacking something, we're going to keep manifesting it. So one way is to look at the areas in your life that aren't working. Find out what you seem to have problems, what the blockages and beliefs, where do they come from, and then take the necessary steps to clear. You might need to do some inner child healing. You might need to forgive your parents, for example, and start saying some affirmations like, I'm willing to release and let go. I'm willing to release all resistance. That's a great way to start because we need to free ourselves from the resistance that we can inadvertently hold on to. So I hope that helps. I'm just checking both cameras. I've got my camera station set up. I've got Instagram camera here. I've got my YouTube camera up here. For those of you who don't know, I do also have a very active YouTube page. I'm actually going to be posting a YouTube video in a couple of hours today. I post 3 to 4 videos a week on there, as well as YouTube Shorts, and also do my live streams and my three workshops a week, which I'm going to start doing again as well. So if you are interested in seeing more video content, my YouTube is Danny Conscious Living, the same as my Instagram. A lot of people have requested for me to do more videos for a while, and I have been doing them for the last 3 months, but not everyone has known about that because Instagram may not show my posts to you. But if you are interested in seeing more regular videos, I am posting them now, and I am taking video requests. So if there's a topic you'd like a video on, do let me know. And yeah, my YouTube handle is Danny Conscious Living. So, how to get rid of a fear that is there for years. So there's various different ways that you can do to help release fear. Fundamentally, what you want to understand is first understand what fear is, first of all, and where this fear has come from. So if you have any kind of anxiety or fear, you just need to find out what the root cause of that is. But even if you don't know to begin with, that's okay. We can still work with that. So if you have some fear, start off by saying some affirmations to that, just simply, I am willing to release all anxiety and fear. I am willing to release all anxiety and fear. And that's a perfect start. The reason for this is we have the ability to release anything we're holding on to and change our habit patterns. What holds us back is the programming that we have in our mind, because our subconscious mind controls 95% of our behaviour. So if you've got anxiety that's for a long time, as you say, been there for years, then whatever's causing that anxiety has been like almost hardwired in your mind. Now, the subconscious mind is like a supercomputer. Over a repetition, over a period of time, neural networks in the brain have been wired to fire a certain way. So first of all, we just need to bear in mind that it's possible that we might have some resistance to letting go of anxiety. Now, I know that might sound a bit strange to begin with. If you've had trouble with anxiety for years and you feel that it's held you back, the idea that you might be holding on to it can seem so far-fetched, but actually, it's called a psychological reversal. Subconsciously, we can actually hold on to fear because it's familiar. We can actually have some resistance to letting go, even though we've had some anxiety for years and it's caused us problems and held us back. There's another part of us that will be like, well, at least it's familiar. Because for a lot of us, fear of the unknown is more scary. This is why sometimes we fail to take that chance or take this leap of faith, and sometimes why manifesting can seem quite difficult or challenging, depending on the situation, because it requires us to have faith and trust when sometimes we might feel too anxious to do so. So what you first of all want to do is have a willingness to let go of fear. So this is why I'm saying, say an affirmation that begins with the words, I am willing. Because if you say, I am willing, you are not putting yourself under any stress or pressure to make a change. You are going to be tuning into a vibration where you are willing to let go of anything that doesn't serve you. And once you are willing, then it's much easier for things to begin to shift. So start by saying, I am willing to release all fear and all anxiety, or you could simply say, I'm willing to release all resistance. Now, there's various other techniques that you can do as well. EFTs are wonderful, good as the tapping technique. It's a technique that I specialize in my training programs. And meditation. Learn to meditate. Focus on your heart center. There's been so many studies that show that meditate can really help to reduce the anxiety. But what you really would need to do, if it's long term, just be willing, first of all. That's enough to get things shifting. Be willing to release all resistance, all fear that you may have held on to and that might still be holding you back. Of course, there's loads of other techniques that you can do for anxiety, but I can't go not into them full depth here because it would just take so long. But just as a little answer for that can work wonders. But if anyone is interested in looking more in depth how to clear anxiety, my coaching programs that I offer helps to reprogram your subconscious mind, clear stress and anxiety, but I specialize in helping clients to remove the emotional blockages from trauma from the past that's been holding us back all this time that prevents us from manifesting our goals and desires. So I do work on a one-to-one basis if this is something anyone would be interested in, and I do have a free 20-minute discovery call option available. So anyone can book a free 20-minute call with me, and you can book in a date and a time, and then we can discuss the issues that you would like to work on. We can put a plan together, and if this is something that would resonate, then we can start to work together. The link for the discovery call will be the link in my Instagram bio, and also the link that's in my YouTube description as well. So if you're interested in working with me, book a call. Let's see if there's any more questions. Thank you, you're most welcome. Oh, I've lost myself with the comments, bear with me. I'm just trying to find some of the comments. Why does my phone keep going back like that? Please say again. If you mean the affirmation, it's I am willing to release all anxiety, stress and fear, or you can just simply say I'm willing to release all resistance. You'll have to bear with me. My phone's jumping from the comment section, so it's possible that I'll miss some comments. So if I've not answered your comment, just pop it in the comments again. Hey Danny, I have a question. If meditation is about setting free ourselves from worldly things, then why spiritual teachers talk about getting pleasures and material abundance through meditation? It depends on, to me, this is the way I see it. So meditation can free ourselves from worldly things. But to me, meditation is more about connecting with who I am and my true essence. But also bearing in mind that the reason why we are incarnated here is to experience life. You know, my philosophy is that we are spirits having a human experience, and we come into this life for a purpose, to learn many lessons, and to also help humanity and the global consciousness. But we are creators. We are inherently, we create our lives. And we have the ability to experience things. So why not manifest the ideal life that we want? But the difference is there's some things that we can get that would be classed as material. But the difference isn't what you manifest, it's your perspective and your place, your vibration. There is a difference between manifesting things that would be seen as materialistic, but there's a difference between doing that and being materialistic. You can be very detached from the material things around you, but you can still enjoy them. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can still enjoy them and live the best life because you are naturally abundant. Our essence is naturally abundant. And we don't realise that because we're programmed in a society that's believing in lack and fear all the time. And this is where our programs come from. So it's not about how I want to meditate so I can let go of all my possessions. We live in this physical reality where we do require some possessions to live. But it's the perspective and the position that we view them. Meditation helps you to get in touch with a greater part of yourself, not the ego identity. But naturally, by freeing yourself from the ego identity and stepping into your truest self, you naturally take on characteristics and traits of that of your higher self, of your truest self, of God, of Source. And one of them is abundance, creativity, and expression. And if I've incarnated in this planet, I want to enjoy all the wonderful aspects of life at the same time. Because we have the power, we have the ability to heal ourselves and do so many things. So why not use them? Because that's part of who we are. So that's my philosophy and take on that. And meditation is a wonderful tool to help people manifest things because it helps to tune into the part of us that's pure energy. We are all energy anyway, but that non-physical part of us. And it's a wonderful tool to use to help enhance our lives. But it's all about, if you're doing it from that materialistic perspective, that's where the difference is. You know, you want to, detachment is very important and not identifying, with these things. That doesn't mean you don't have to, you can still enjoy them as long as you're not too rooted and put your security on them. Let's see if there's any more questions. There's no questions come through on YouTube yet. Let's have a look on Instagram. How to astral travel. I don't really, I'm not very experienced at astral traveling myself, so I'm afraid I can't advise on that. It's something I'm still learning myself. This phone is definitely... Someone's just put the word relationship, but I've lost the comment. Was that a question about relationships? Architect Gitanjal.nitav, relationship. Is there a question you have about relationship? But fundamentally, yes. So for example, I'm uploading a YouTube video in a couple of hours, and it's a meditation, a technique to help you get in touch with the energy to manifest your specific person, to manifest a relationship. Because it's very possible to tune into that energy and that frequency of the vibration of our perfect relationship, our perfect partner. I mean, this is for anything. The healing that we want, more money, spiritual, mystical experiences, spiritual awakening, whatever it is that we want. But through meditation, we access, first of all, it changes our brainwave state, and we access this other part of us where we can actually step into the quantum field. In quantum physics, everything's energy and frequency. A lot of us are familiar with that by now. And there are different realities that we can tune into. So when we are manifesting, essentially what we're really doing is just matching our personal frequency with the frequency of the reality that we desire that's already in the energetic field around us. And it's using these techniques to be able to step into that place. The problem is, like what I've said before, the problem is the programming that we've taken on throughout our lives, because most of that programming is resulting in fear and the belief in lack. Couple that with any emotional traumas that we've had, the programming that we've taken on from our parents, our upbringing, the social society, friends, toxic relationships. These will influence the beliefs that we hold on to. Because in our subconscious mind, as I said earlier, the subconscious mind controls 95% of our behaviour. It's much more powerful than the conscious mind. And the subconscious mind remembers everything. But the conscious mind doesn't remember everything. The subconscious mind remembers everything. But what the subconscious mind remembers more, it's almost like an imprint, is anything that has a really highly emotional charge. Which is why you consciously can remember a lot of things that may have been traumatic for you, or also very pleasurable. Because the emotional imprint, it's much easier to, it goes by the feeling and the environment in the subconscious level. So essentially, that's how fears and phobias, for example, can be formed. If you were bitten by a dog when you were very young, and it was very painful, it was scary for you, and you had all these different feelings, that will be imprinted in your mind. And what happens is, because the subconscious mind remembers how you felt, that strong emotional reaction, it remembers all the images, everything so vivid like it happened yesterday. When you see a dog, maybe if you don't resolve that fear, if that pattern of behaviour resulted from that is still in your mind, it becomes hardwired. And this is just an example. This is the mechanics that works with all habit patterns. But we're just using this as an example. A few years later, you see another dog running towards you, but a friendly dog. Nothing to do with the dog that bit you before, completely different situation. Your conscious mind can see that, but subconsciously, it associates that because of how you felt with what happened, and then the fight or flight mechanism kicks in. Anxiety kicks in, stress kicks in, and you feel like what you was when you was a little girl, a little boy, when you were bitten by a dog. That's just a very basic example of the mechanics of how this can work. And there's other things involved in that as well, but if you think of all the beliefs and the programmings that have been influenced on you from when you were growing up, for example, or if you keep having the same relationship, a toxic relationship after the other, after the other, after the other, there's a pattern of behaviour there that we're manifesting. So, because everything is energy and frequency, and we are energy and frequency beings, and what causes our vibration is what we feel. What we think and what we feel and determine as a belief. It's all electromagnetic energy. Our minds produce the electrical component of our thoughts, and our feelings produce the magnetic, the feeling. And so you couple the thought and the feeling together. So this is, manifestation teachings. You'll talk, like including in my videos and stuff and content on Instagram, the law of assumption, as well as the law of attraction, but the law of assumption and Neville Goddard, because they, not just their mothers do as well, but they pretty much focus on being in the end state, because it's the feeling that makes the difference. But thoughts are important as well, because you have to have the idea, you have to have the intent, you have to have the visualization, the creativity. But we have so many thoughts a day, thousands, we can't control them. Thoughts that we're not even aware of. And a lot we just don't think about it. But when we try and have a thought that does have a feeling attached to it, and we've got certain feelings associated with thoughts that we've done consciously or unconsciously, they usually tie in with what our core beliefs are. And what our core beliefs are, because they produce the feeling as well, because now we've got a strong emotional feeling with a thought, that's giving power to the thought to start bringing it to us by the magnetic energy. So this is why, they say in manifestation, talking about the feeling, because if you have a thought, like manifesting your specific person, say that 3 times fast, manifesting your perfect relationship, if you just visualize them, okay, that's good, you visualize them, you can make it vivid, but if you don't put any feeling in it, then you're not using the magnetic energy to literally pull that to you. It would just be an electrical thought in your mind that just fizzles out and goes everywhere. Just disperses into nothing, basically. You need that emotional feeling to pull it to you. And because the universe reflects what we feel in the present moment, because there's only the present moment, there's no past, there's no future. Past is just memories that we've held on to from past experiences. The future is just a concept, it's just an idea, it hasn't happened yet. Anything can only happen right now. So, therefore, the universe can only manifest back what we determine right now. So we want to feel from the end, we want to feel like it's already real. But again, with the programming that we have, or a lot of us are carrying so much emotional wounds and blockages, we are feeling predominantly the lack and the fear. So it's difficult. The idea is we want to clear ourselves from all that emotion and that discomfort so that we can be open for something new. That's why, when I work with people, we focus on that bit first. It's not just manifesting. It's focus on manifesting what you want, but we're getting you in a position where you are clear to manifest what you want. That's why it's so important to clear, through various techniques, your energy system and see what's not working and heal. Because then we're free. Now we've got a brand new clean program that we can set ourselves up, and that's where affirmations can really work. So, there's some questions that have come through on Instagram on the speech thing, so let's just have a quick look. I want my soulmate now. Well, I will be uploading the video very shortly on my YouTube channel, which will take you through the technique to get you in that feeling state to manifest your specific person. So if you follow me on YouTube, you'll see the video in a couple of hours. If you're not on YouTube, or if you're not following me on YouTube, it's Danny Conscious Living, but I'll also post the link to the video on my Instagram story when it's uploaded. What books did you read to help with your spiritual growth? Oh my goodness, so many. What was the first? I don't even know what the first one was. I loved Wayne Dyer's work. Your Sacred Self was one of them. The Power of Intention, Wishes Fulfilled. Of course, Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now and New Earth. I love Dr. Joe Dispenza, all of his work. Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, and Louise Hay. Louise Hay, such a wonderful pioneering teacher, and there's many others, but I mean, those are some powerful influences, and of course Neville Goddard as well. But it's not just books. It's my spiritual journey didn't begin with books. My spiritual journey began when I was 16. That's when my awakening began. And through a lot of fear and anxiety, bereavement, because both my grandparents passed away very early on, quite a bit of a shock. At school, doing my studies and everything. Oh, and adolescence, just a brilliant time for everything like that to happen, right? And that's when my mum was always quite spiritual, but never forced anything on me. I just tuned into it and I was ready. And that's when I discovered meditation, healing, some clairvoyant stuff, used to do readings for people and things like that. So that's kind of how it happened for me. And that's when I found out more books. When I'd already sort of had my awakening and experiences, that's when I started to research stuff more to find out what was going on. And that's when I started learning more about the spiritual teachings. So over half my life now. What should I do? I want success in my love life and my job. You asked the same question about wanting your perfect relationship right now. So yes, as I said, the video that I will upload will help you get into that state for manifesting your specific person. But actually, that technique, it's not just to manifest your relationship. You can do that for everything. Anything that you want to manifest, the concept's the same. Putting you in that place where you really feel like it's happening. In the video I'll talk about getting yourself in that place where you can suspend your beliefs just temporarily. Because we've got beliefs in our subconscious mind, as I said, that are running the show. 95% of our behaviour. We just need to be in that place where we can suspend those beliefs, that inner dialogue, for just enough time so that we can shift our energy to be in that place. I believe Joe Dispenza says, put ourselves in nowhere, literally nowhere, so that we are open to manifest something new. Because we're not listening to the story of our past to determine our present and future. So it's about being in that place where we can actually level up, raise our energy into that place where that reality, where our perfect partner is there. But that can be for anything. It's the mechanics, the technique. It's exactly the same for anything, whether it's money, success in a job, health, growing your advanced spiritual experience. It's putting yourself into that place. I've got quite a few videos on my YouTube actually where I'll go over various techniques for things like that, but fundamentally it's all the same. And trusting in divine timing as well, because even though we act like it's already manifested, that's just part of half the job. We don't do the what's the term? We don't do the mechanics. The universe does that. All we have to do is position ourselves, make ourselves available, and set up vibrationally to manifest that. So by this I mean, I call it meeting the universe halfway. If you have your values, have your yourself in your feeling state, in that receptivity, in that vibrational state, to welcome in your specific person, whatever it is that you want. But also you show the universe that you are ready for that as well. Because it's also, the universe observes our behavior. If we're not ready for something, it won't happen. There has to be divine timing, but divine timing can change. So essentially what we're saying is, yes, you act like it's already here. Circumstances don't matter, all of those sayings that you're familiar with. You do take on the feeling like it's already here, but then you forget about it. You don't chase it. You don't demand it to come now. You forget about it and just know that it's going to happen when the time is right. Because we don't know consciously how something's going to happen, when it's going to happen. All we have to do is make ourselves available for it in the way that we know how to. The universe takes care of the rest of the details, so it's trusting that process. Thank you, you're most welcome. It's just the same. It's just the same as if you plant seeds, and if you're not getting any results, you don't look around through the seeds like, are you sprouting yet or anything. You know there's a law and a process. If you've got seeds in the soil and they've got the right amount of moisture and sunlight, all the conditions that it needs to do its own thing, we don't do anything, right, okay, start growing now. No, there's a law and a process where it grows by itself. It's the same with our beliefs, it's the same with everything. You allow the universe to take care of those details. So, there's another question down here. I want to tell you something important. I want my soulmate. Yeah, so asking the same question. So yeah, I hope my questions, because you're asking those same questions again, I hope what I've said has helped. The video will be released in a couple of hours, and it's a technique that you'll be able to follow. But if you are really important on having it right now, I would ask the question, why right now? Is there a bit of, is there another, what's the real reason why you want it right now? If we want something right now, where we must have it, then we just need to be mindful, okay, what's the real cause behind that? Because we can require something as soon as we can. But if there's an urgency, you've got to be aware of why there's that urgency. Because if there's an urgency, that's usually coming from a place of fear and lack. And if that's a dominant feeling, because remember, it's the feeling that creates the magnetic pull, remember, it's the feeling that makes the difference. If we have the feeling that's primarily based in fear and lack, then that's what we're going to manifest. So if you want something too much and it's coming from fear, there's a possibility that you could either block your manifestation or delay it. So it's very important to be mindful of where we're coming from. if it's coming, if we're coming from too much of that place of fear, because there, essentially what we kind of learn to, if we can learn to master this, it'd be wonderful to not take our cues from circumstances. There's that expression, circumstances don't matter. It's kind of, true, because if we take because our circumstances essentially are the result of what we've put out vibrationally. They are the end result of what we've already been putting out. They're not, they're kind of the after effect. What we're experiencing now is almost like an after effect of what we have been putting out and feeling. But the problem is, if we don't realize that and we take our cues from the circumstances, then essentially we could be trapped in that same loop and keep creating more of it. Because, if we keep feeling in lack or anxiety or whatever, and we're manifesting from that and creating the same loop over and over again, then we kind of become trapped, because I'll have this belief in lack, I'm lacking this, I'm lacking that, this doesn't seem to work out, I'm not good enough, and then experiences that reflect that belief and feeling start manifesting, and then they feel like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because I've manifested that. It's like, oh, well, that's true, yes, oh, that's just confirmed I'm useless, I'm not good enough, and you start feeling that again, and therefore you keep putting it out there, you keep manifesting it. So we need to be feel greater than our circumstances. It can be very challenging. It can be challenging. If circumstances around you seem to be out of control, and you've got to remain centered and rise above that. Because if we can do that, because remember, there's just the present moment. I believe it's Louise Hay that said the point of power is always in the present moment, which is true. So if we can step ourselves into alignment as soon as we can, then we have the ability to make powerful changes incredibly quickly. Comment on YouTube. Hey, Danny. Oh, where's the comment gone? Hi there. I did see your comment, but it seems to have disappeared. All messages. The viral. Hey, Danny. Hey, how are you doing? Do you have a question? Is there any more questions or comment on Instagram? I can't see anything at the moment. This session will be uploaded as on the replay, by the way. But I will be doing a workshop in the next live. Now, in the last live stream that I did, I spoke about topics for workshops, because the workshops that I do plan on doing, I haven't done for a couple of weeks from other commitments, but I used to do 3 a week, and they were always very successful. The list of topics that have been requested for workshops, I think the first topic in that live stream was inner child healing. Now, inner child healing is very important, because the inner child is that part of us that holds on to all those experiences when we were a child. The good experiences, there's no problem with that, because they're positive. Where the issue is all the experiences that were traumatic for us, all the emotional wounds and the trauma. That's that part of us that also remembers them, and it doesn't go away. It's suppressed. So the inner child remembers all those experiences, but also at the same time, the inner child is responsible for, it's that part of us that creates all the unhealthy habits and the fears. In my course, when I was training in EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, I believe in that course they explained that addiction is a tranquilizer for anxiety. So a lot of the anxiety that we are feeling, the addictive behaviours, is basically our inner child acting out. Self-sabotaging behaviours, inner child acting out. So we need to heal that part of ourselves, because that's where all the wounds are. That's why it's so important when you want to do any kind of manifesting work. Some people are like, no, don't focus on the negative because it'll expand. And I'm like, well, actually, if you're not focusing on it to create it. You can observe it and release it and heal it. That's a very different thing. Because if you don't do that, it's a program that you're suppressing. You're going to be creating it anyway. You need to see You need to see the dirty floor and clean it before polishing it and making it sparkly and abundant and everything like that. It's essential, really, to look at the roots, because at some point you're going to have to clear it, whether it's in this lifetime, later in your life, or another lifetime. Question. Oh, I've got two questions, one on YouTube and one on Instagram. Let's look at the YouTube one first. My mind keeps going back to the past again and again, making me feel the same emotions. What was the comment gone? What should I do? I don't want to believe my mind, but it feels uncomfortable. So I know what that's like. It's very similar, almost obsessive thinking. When the mind keeps thinking back to the past, why does this question keeps disappearing? So we want to try and create a block for that loop. So there's various things that you can do. EFT is a wonderful technique where you do tapping and you can clear the emotions and clear on the energy level as well as the psychological level. It helps to rewire the neural pathway. It's one of my most favourite techniques. But what you can also do when you're in that loop is to first of all not resist what you're feeling. That's the biggest thing, first of all, because we feel the emotional pain and the stress from the thought, but then we feel the burden of it even more because we know we keep thinking it and keep doing it, and then it creates a vicious loop and a cycle. First of all, we've got to learn to not be afraid of feeling these things, because it's that fear that creates resistance, and what resists persists. So basically, if you keep thinking about something from the past and it's causing you to feel bad or whatever it is that you're feeling, just first of all say, I am aware of this feeling. I am aware of this anxiety. This is a very powerful technique because we want to first of all own our state of being, right? We want to be in control, vibrational control, not control from the ego, but vibrational control and our state of being. Just be aware that the mind is like a computer, so the more you try not to think of something, the more likely that you'll keep thinking it. So first of all, just say, I am aware of it. Acknowledge it. I am aware of this anxiety. If you keep saying that, it will ease naturally because you're no longer having that resistance there. As well as that, begin to say, I am willing to release the habits and programs in me that created this condition and fear. I am willing to release the habits and programs in me that has created these conditions and fears. Or, very simply, you can say, I am willing to release and let go. I'm willing to release and let go. Now, I don't know what the particular emotion is that you're feeling, what the experience is, so it's difficult to say anything more specific than that. So I'm just giving some general answers here. You can free yourself from a lot of resistance by just not resisting the thought, then just saying that you're willing to release and let this go. But if it was a situation revolving another person, and let's say they did something to you and it was hurtful, so in which case you could say maybe if you want to evolve from this feeling, perhaps there might be some resentment that you're holding on to, or if you feel guilty about something you've done to another person. What you can do is go to your heart center and just sit quietly and just say, if it's something that someone done to you, you just be willing to let that go and willing to forgive. Willing to forgive. In fact, forgiveness is the ultimate thing, because whether it's something that someone's done to you, in which case you forgive them, or whether it's something that you've done to someone else, you want to forgive yourself. And forgiveness is a very powerful healer. It's understandable if at times we can feel not ready to forgive someone because of something that they've done, and it might be very emotionally raw. But at some point, it's in our empowerment and in our benefit to forgive. Because if someone done something to us and we hold on to resentment, they don't know. It makes no difference to them. The only thing that it's been proven, if we hold on to resentment and stress, it actually damages us. It depletes our energy, it wastes our energy, and physically our body suffers. So actually, if we are feeling we are giving someone a free pass by forgiving them, no, it's not that. You're actually empowering yourself. If someone done something terrible to you, it's not worth you expending them or that situation any of your energy. But that's exactly what you're doing by replaying it over and over in your mind. So to empower yourself, whether it's something that you've done or somebody else has done, forgiveness is always going to be the key. And that's permission to start letting the energy go. So I don't know the details of the situations, but I do hope, in general, those are some techniques that can help. And anyone else as well. There's more in-depth things that can be done, but unable to speak about them in a live stream because you need more time. But yeah, I do hope that's helped. A question on Instagram here. Is Instagram going to scrolling? Hey Carly, I hope you're well. I don't know if you're still in the chat. I've just seen your message. Hope you're doing well. Do you get anxiety and fear? Anxiety and fear was the cause for, as well as bereavement, for my awakening. Anxiety and fear. I've never been diagnosed with OCD, but it's OCD-like, the anxiety, which is why I talk a bit as well about the resistance, because, like if we're speaking generally here, obviously anyone who's asking me questions here, it's not a one-to-one session where we can talk in detail about these specifics about what's going on with you. But what I can say is I will always start by saying we want to let go of this resistance, because half the time we're making it worse for ourselves, because I did the same thing. I was thinking I needed to let go of fear straight away. Right, I'm going to let all this go, and it just wasn't happening, and I was getting more stressed that I wasn't letting it go, because without realising, part of me is holding on to something that I'm not ready to let go of, or part of me is afraid to let go, or putting too much pressure on myself. We get very stuck in our own way, and especially when there's a lot of people that say, watch your thoughts create your reality. They contribute with the feeling, but a thought alone won't create your reality. I will make sure that any of teachings that I say, I will not say thoughts create your reality, just your thoughts, because that is such a demand for anyone. You can't control all your thoughts. And for anyone who may have OCD tendencies, where they're already worried about their thoughts and fears, it's just going to create so much more tension, so much more anxiety, and it doesn't work that way in the first place anyway. As we said, the whole reason, if you study any manifestation work, genuine, true manifestation work, you will find it's always about the feeling. But also, we do have the benefit of there in this reality a time delay. We kind of what would you call that? Almost like a safety net, because we all have these moments where we might be triggered or might act up something out in anger or fear, knee-jerk reaction or whatever it is. We'll just do something, and then we don't mean it. When we calm down, it will change that. And so but so there's always a time delay. There's always ability to change. But I do find that we do put a lot more pressure on ourselves. So that's anxiety and fear was my biggest lesson that's helped me on my journey. So as difficult and tough as it has been, it's been the cause for my awakening. And also it gives me a kind of a conviction when I speak about what I speak about, because everything that I'm speaking about is coming from my own teachings and my own personal experience, what I've gone through. Everything I'm sharing is something that I don't just believe in. For me, it's truth. It's my truth. And it's, if my truth, if it resonates and helps you, that's wonderful. And if it doesn't, that's absolutely fine. Everyone's got their own truth. Everyone's got their own path and, part to play. The viral, thanks for answering. You're welcome. I do hope that helps. It's just, trying to get out of that loop. We want to be willing to let go, not create any more resistance for ourselves, and focus on the forgiveness. Meditation, of course, is a wonderful tool. The EFT is a brilliant tool as well. I've done a couple of videos on my YouTube channel about EFT, the basic tapping techniques. And EFT is one of the main techniques that I help clients with in my coaching programs as well, to clear their energy. Because what that does is it clears the emotional charge that we're storing in the body, helps to rewire the neural pathways, and clears the energy on the meridian system. You know, that's a wonderful. That's one of the techniques that I started when I was 16, which helped me with anxiety tremendously. There's another question here. How do we get success? Start feeling successful. You know, put yourself anything. Essentially, take away anything that we want to manifest. We have to feel it like it's already real. You know, we need to step into that feeling place that it's already here, that it's already real, because if we keep focusing on the absence, I want something, I need this, I need that. Well, first of all, we're saying the words I want and I need. So we are implying that we're just telling the universe, we're reinforcing more the absence of what it is that we want. It's okay to think about, well, what is it that I would want? That's good, because we're questioning, we're being creative. But then when we got the answer, we then want to start acting and positioning ourselves to create it. And that's when we start adopting the feeling. So if you want success, start feeling successful. Start saying, I am successful. Prosperity is everywhere. Everything I touch turns to gold. You know, shift your inner talk. Because the more we can say things in our mind, through repetition, that gets through to the subconscious mind. There's a couple of ways to access the subconscious mind. One is through like hypnosis, because we go into the theta brainwave state. That's a brainwave state to access the subconscious mind, or repetition. When you learn to drive a car, you learn to drive a car through repetition. When you learn to write, learn to do anything, you do it through repetition, and it becomes an automatic habit. It's the same with a belief. I want to focus on what I want, but end up focusing on what I don't want. What can go wrong? Where's this coming gone? What can go wrong comes first in my mind. I keep ruminating on it. That's just complete habit, because that's the same. It's a lot of us. It's the built-in fear, the fight or flight. Because if you think the fight or flight mechanism, that's that part of our brain, part of our mind that's keep for your safety. If you go think, you know, if we was in the wild, you know, that's the same fight or flight mechanism that helps us to, you know, run from danger. You either fight, flee, or, you know. So it's the society, depending on where we live, obviously, but fundamentally, for a lot of us, when we're born, we are born with fear everywhere. You know, the belief in separation, the belief in lack, the belief that I will suffer if I don't have what I need. And then you couple all of that with the experiences that we've had that might be very emotional, very scary, and also the programming that we get from other people. Well, the problem is a lot of us have that stress response as our first response. So the fight or flight part of our brain is very active. Therefore, anything that comes our way, we immediately are in the habit of looking for the worst case scenario. And what we're wanting to do is to change our patterning to look what's the best case scenario. Because if we were born with this spiritual knowledge, with how manifestation works, and we knew that as truth, we wouldn't be thinking in a fearful state, because there's nothing to fear. Because we create our reality. But it's the programming, and also depending on how old we are in our lifestyle. Some of us wake up to this more early than others. The older you are, the more likely it is that you've got programming and energy blockages that you need to release and let go of. I mean, sometimes it can be easy for people who are older, sometimes it can be easier or harder for those who are younger. It can vary, of course, but you get what I mean logically. So it's letting go of all those fears. So if we're in that place of what can go wrong, we need to start thinking what can go right. You know, it's just habit. So if to shift that, we want to do practices like meditation in general, because it helps to calm ourselves down, helps to be in that calm place. So we're disengaging that fight or flight part of the brain. And then just start making it a habit to say, just think on the positive. Focus on gratitude. Even if you don't feel it to begin with, make it a habit. You know, focusing on gratitude is a powerful thing, because the more we can focus on what we're grateful for, Not only does it feel good and it's a positive thing, it helps us look for the positive in everything, but also because we are feeling grateful, that's a very powerful elevated emotion. If we're feeling the elevated emotion of gratitude, that means we're putting out a vibration that we're always grateful for something. That means we're always it's a state of receivership. So what you can do is just start, if your mind first of all looks for the worst case scenario, as soon as you're aware that you've caught yourself doing that, just think, right, okay, that's just a habit. Then start to replace it with thinking of the best case scenario, what can go right. Or if that's too much of a jump, because I know what it can be like when we get in that fight or flight place, it's very difficult to think of something positive. If we're kind of overpowered with fear, just every time you have a fearful thought of worst case scenario, replace it with something that you're grateful for. It can be something very basic. The clothes you're wearing, the weather, the roof over your head, the food that you're eating, or anything. Even if it seems mundane, and even if you don't seem to feel it straight away. But make it a habit. The point is, this is how we can reprogram. One of the ways to reprogram our mind is repetition. That's how the subconscious mind, one of the few ways that you can access and reprogram the subconscious mind is repetition, which is why we do the affirmations. So if you shift that and start focusing on that feeling of positivity, that naturally is going to start shifting the energy around and lessen the anxiety over a period of time anyway. So if you're looking at the worst case scenario, just make it a habit to first of all think of the positive case first. If you can catch yourself, positive case first, and just keep doing it. Then if you catch yourself doing the negative first, just replace it with a positive. And just keep doing it. Doesn't matter if you don't feel it straight away. Doesn't matter if you still feel anxious. It's the repetition. I guarantee the more times you do that, I can guarantee this because this is how the subconscious mind works. Validation is anything that you ever do on repetition becomes autopilot. It becomes automatic. So that's one way to do that. Hope that helps. Hello, Neil Rook. How are you doing, my friend? Dr. Pepper all the way. Oh right. So there's another question on Instagram. My manifestation is not working. What to do? Well, I'm hoping that I've kind of covered a bit of why manifestations don't work in this live stream. It can be based on where you're coming from. You know, are you, with your manifestations, are you believing it? Are you feeling it? Or are you focusing more on the absence of it? Are you focusing more on the fear, you know, I don't have it? What is it that you know, what's the main thing that you're focusing on and predominantly feeling? You know, are you feeling so much of the need? Because we can want things too much, you know. This is the thing. A lot of people say to me, I don't think manifestation works. Well, it does work. You're manifesting all the time, you know, but we just don't realize it. The difference is we're not always manifesting what we want. That's what it is. The nature of the universe, we're always manifesting something based on our thoughts and our feelings. You know, if we, for example, if we are focusing on lack all the time, we're going to create an abundance of lack. Remember, everything's infinitely abundant, including the universe. The universe, infinitely abundant, how it works. We receive abundance all the time. But if we focus on lack all the time, then we're going to get an abundance of lack. In other words, we're going to get an abundance of scenarios that seem to validate our lackness, if that makes sense. You know, so if I'm focusing on lack all the time, then the universe, I'll manifest scenarios which proves that I'm lacking all the time. But I'm actually in an abundance of lack. But if you change the word, the mechanic's the same, but if you take the word lack out and put abundance, in an abundant universe, and you're thinking of prosperity and abundance, then you're going to get loads of things that come to you that justify all the abundance that you've got. So, you know, where are you coming from? Abundance of true abundance or an abundance of lack? And manifesting more than 20 times a day, so that it don't know what's the mistake. So you're saying that you're manifesting more than 20 times a day. So do you mean that you're trying to manifest more than 20 times a day because you're manifesting all the time? You'll be manifesting more than 20 times a day. But you say you don't know what the mistake... I'm assuming you say you don't know what the mistake is. So I'm assuming what you're meaning is that you are making attempts to consciously manifest 20 times a day, and you don't know what the mistake is. I don't know if I've understood that question correctly. Today I met a teacher of transcendental meditation who practiced yogic flying since 30 years. I've never heard of yogic flying. That sounds very interesting. He is not manifesting lots of money. It can be based on what his intentions to manifest is. Yogic flying. I've got images of doing yoga in the sky, flying yoga, yogic flying. It's yeah, I've never heard of that before. Kind of intrigued by that. So, can you believe I've been on for almost an hour? So I can be on for so let's round up another 5 minutes. So let's make it a full hour that I've been on for. Yes, they fly in the meditation. Is that like astral projection? Is it like astral travel type thing? Like, do they go into a trance state where they come out of their bodies and do things like that, or are they actually doing movements, certain movements, physical movements in the meditation? Give simple manifest technique. Maybe you've only just tuned in because I've said so many manifestation techniques in the live stream. Main thing always is going to be in the feeling state like it's already real. Be specific on the outcome, on what is that you want. Couple that with the feeling like it's already happened. I will be uploading a YouTube video, well, in the next hour now, very soon on my YouTube channel, and it's a technique to help you get in touch with manifesting your specific person, your SP, very, very quickly. That technique essentially can be done for anything, not just a specific person, but I've had lots of requests for videos on a specific person. So those of you on Instagram, if you're not familiar, I do have a YouTube channel which I post very regularly, 3 or 4 videos a week. Various self-help tips and meditation techniques for affirmations and the same sort of stuff that I do on Instagram. My YouTube handle is Danny Conscious Living, same as my Instagram, keeping it consistent. So check out some videos there with some really good manifestation techniques, and look out for the one that I'll be posting in about an hour or so. Got a question on YouTube. My SP has told me that they are not with anyone else a long ago, but a certain person close to them keeps appearing in their social media. The closeness makes me insecure. I'm in no contact. The suspicion makes me anxious. I see. So you're a bit suspicious of them and what they're doing. What I would do for that is I would just reinforce what it is. So essentially, what we're wanting to do, what's the end result that you want? So if you want your perfect partner, perfect relationship, that's what you want, isn't it? You want the security, you want the companionship, you want to be with the right person and there be no problems. So shift yourself into a reality where there's no problems. So this is the thing. Detachment is a very important and powerful principle of manifestation. You know, especially it is for anything, but it seems to be more, especially so for anything that we can get quite emotional about, especially things like relationships and things like that. So I would focus more on the end result of having that perfect partner and that perfect circumstance, rather than the actual being attached to the individual. So I've had some people who come to me who want to be with one particular person, and that's their specific person, and that's it. But it might not be the highest and best, even though we can tune into a reality that we want. There is still a law of what's for our highest and best, you know, because, or we have if we have to be so precise, it has to be this, it has to be that, we're not actually coming from our higher self. We're coming from a place of fear. If we are overly attached to someone or a particular circumstance and we are so rigid on that, that's usually because we feel we need something. If we're in alignment with our highest self, then we'll be very detached as to who that person is or the circumstance. So what I would do, if you're suspicious of something, I don't know the circumstances, I don't know if it's appropriate to speak to them about it or if it's going to cause more problems, I don't know. But if we're talking about manifesting and tuning into the reality that we want, I would say focus more on being in contact with your specific person and everything being perfect. No suspicion, it's just you with that person, then with you. And if it's not meant to be with this person, then let it be so. It doesn't matter. Or if it is meant to be with this person, then the situation won't be a problem. So focus more on being in that place. Oh, I've got my specific person, everything's perfect. You know, there's you can focus on being out with your friends and your friends asking you how's it going with your whoever the name of your partner is, and you're telling them how wonderful it is, how brilliant it is, you're so happy you're planning a future together. And then you can also imagine your specific person doing the same thing with their friends, where you're not there but you're imagining them talking about you whilst you're not there, but saying how wonderful you are. So it's a genuine relationship. I would focus more on that rather than the suspicion. If there's some suspicion and some fear there, then I would focus more on what that fear is. Focus on detaching from that and detaching from this specific person. You know, they may be your specific person long term, but you still want to have that detachment and be open, because focus on the end result. The end result is perfect companionship, love. Well, I'm assuming it is perfect companionship, love, perfect circumstances. You know, we have an idea of the type of person that we want to be with based on what's up here. But our higher self that's in here knows what we want. So, you know, that's how we can make those shifts together, you know, those shifts and step into that place. And that way the universe is so many ways that it can manifest for us, because if we limit ourselves, then we can limit other wonderful experiences. I would love to be on a call with you, Danny, to get your personalised guidance. Yes, absolutely. I do the coaching and also a free 20-minute call as well to discuss, you know, the sort of bit more personalised what the issue is that you're focusing on and what we could do to help with that if that's something that you'd be interested in. You can book a free 20-minute call. The link for the discovery call is either on my YouTube homepage in my About section. It's also the pinned comment on my YouTube videos, and it's also the link on my Instagram page as well. So if you fancy booking a call, all you just need to do is just click on the link. It will you'll see a selection of dates and times that you can do and I can do, and we can just book in the call, have the chat, and yeah, we can go from there. Absolutely. And if anyone else feels that you would like some one-to-one guidance, more personalised for what your needs are, as I said, I do help people with reprogramming their subconscious mind, letting go of the emotional trauma so they can be in that place to start manifesting what they want. I've got a 12-week coaching program, so if you want to work with me more long-term, and also a 3-session program if you just want some techniques just to help start you off that you want to do by yourself. It depends on the individual. Some people like the personalised guidance more long-term. Others just need a couple of sessions just to get set up and then they can do it themselves. So yes, if anyone's interested, do select the free 20-minute call. And I'll just answer a couple more questions before I sign off. I manifest to meet you someday. Oh, well, you never know. I might be. I've had a lot of requests to travel to America, to travel to India. I think my following on Instagram and YouTube is various places, but I think India and the UK and the US are the most are the places where most people are based. and I would love to visit all of them one day, absolutely. The friends I've trying message because I'm concerned. The friends I've trying message because I'm concerned we've been friends for 21 years. I'm not sure I quite understand the question. You're concerned about your friendship of 21 years, is that correct? Um, do, 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 do. If anyone's left a question or comment in this chat and I've not seen it, I'm sorry. There's so many questions, so many comments that come in, and also my phone on Instagram, when I try and scroll up, the comment seems to be jumping down for some reason. The next live stream that I will be doing will be a actual workshop on the inner child healing. That was requested by quite a few people in the last live stream that I did. There's quite a few inner child healing, meditation for beginners, how to clear our chakras, and manifestation workshops. So these are the next 4 workshops I've got planned in. The next one, what day are we today? Are we Wednesday? So Thursdays are going to be a day when I will do these regular workshops. So there'll be one tomorrow on the inner child healing. I'm not entirely sure on the time yet, so when I know the time, I will update that on my Instagram and on YouTube. But the great thing is with these workshops, I've got the ability to save them on both Instagram and YouTube. The replay will be, available, so that won't be a problem at all. But the inner child healing will be the next workshop that I'll be doing. I'll just answer this last question. The friends I've tried to message because I'm concerned we've been friends for 21 years. And I said, you're concerned about your friendship of 21 years. You said, yes, that's correct. What is I don't know what your concern is. So what is the concern? Do you mean in a relationship wise, or are you just concerned about your friend? If you're concerned about your friendship because of something's gone on, is that what you mean? Do you have workshops on medium or clairvoyance? I haven't done any yet. I used to do clairvoyance and readings. I haven't done that for years though. That was one of the first things that I did in my awakening was psychic and clairvoyant readings. But back then I had lots of issues with anxiety, and I just felt that I had to just focus on working on myself more. That's when I delved more into the meditation and the yoga and the affirmations and focus on that sort of spiritual side. I never really got back into doing the readings. I'm focusing more on helping people become their higher selves, essentially, really helping people to let go of the programming and the fears that we're holding on to, and to expand your consciousness and raise the vibration. So I'm a bit out of practice with doing the readings, so I don't know if that will be a workshop that I will do. It's something I'll consider. I did have success with doing them, but it's not something that I've been mainly focusing on at the moment. Oh, I see. I was thinking of more guiding someone that feels spirit energy. Oh, right. I see. Okay. Well, I'm not a practicing medium. I can advise on some things, but I don't know if you would rather speak to a medium that's actually practicing, in which case they might be more helpful in that area. But as far as feeling the energy, I can, with what I used to do and the things that I know, I could do a workshop on that. But again, I'm not practicing it regularly myself, so that's the only difference there. Being, transparent about that. How many years have I been doing media? Oh, maybe nearly 10 years since I've done mediumship work. But the thing is, with those abilities, they're still in use, because the same abilities that we use to perceive spirits and communicate and feel the energy is the same what we're doing with everyone. Our intuition, our sense that when we get a vibe from someone, we're still tuning in. It's just all the same thing. It's just we are expanding our perception of awareness beyond the physical to, where the consciousness of beings in spirit are, and communicating with that part. One thing that I was taught is to, if you're trying to do a reading for someone, is just say anything that comes to your mind. Give them a sort of a disclaimer first of all. Don't be alarmed, because if you're practicing, sometimes it's difficult to know the difference between between your mind and what you're tuning into. So the biggest thing my coach, my teacher told me is just say what comes, because a lot of the times I can't say that. It was actually correct, you know. But you let the person know. Don't be alarmed. Take everything with a bit of a pinch of salt, because things can, unless it's absolutely vivid, you know. I'm concerned with my friend's well-being and our friendship. Well, I don't know the circumstances, as to why you're concerned about your friend. So yeah, I don't know what the circumstances are, but if you're just concerned for your friendship in general, then what you can just imagine is you and your friend and your friendship and the circumstances, everything. You can say this, all is well, everything is being worked out for my highest and greatest good. All is well, everything is being worked out for my highest and greatest good. So, and just, I don't know what the individual circumstances are, but what I can say, if you have any concern, just let the concern go. Be willing to let that fear go, and just focus on everything being well. And just keep saying. You can say it you can just say it incessantly if you need to begin with. All is well, all is well, all is well. Because the more times you say it, the more it's going into the subconscious part of our brain. So I hope that helps. Tonya, I love your hair. Oh, thank you. Is there any more questions that can come in? I've got a couple more minutes. Any more questions on the YouTube side? No more questions there. Thank you for advices. You're most welcome. Right, well, I will sign off now, but thank you for everyone who's tuned in and asked wonderful questions. Nice broad range of questions, and I do hope that the session was very helpful. As I said, I do have coaching programs available if you would like to work with me on one-to-one, or feel like you would like some personalised guidance, and I do offer a free 20-minute call regardless anyway, so you can book that with the link on my Instagram page or on YouTube in my About section, and we can book a call to see if this is something you'd like to work on. I'm uploading my newest YouTube video in about the next hour or so, with a technique to help you manifest your specific person, your perfect partner, very, very quickly. It's a process to help you get into that feeling state, and again, that technique you can use as well for anything that you want to manifest. It's just tailored for the relationship, creating a relationship, but the mechanics is exactly the same. I'll post, for those on Instagram, I'll post a link to the video on my story when it's uploaded, and for those on YouTube, hopefully you should get the notification anyway that the video is uploaded. And tomorrow I will be doing the workshop on inner child healing. Probably be about the same sort of time as today, but once I know the time on my schedule, what calls I've got, I will update on the Instagram story and YouTube when I'll go live. And the replay for this session will also be available as well. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and I will see you in the next session. Wherever you are in the world, hope you have a lovely morning, afternoon and evening, and I'll see you soon.